Okay, this is a video where I'll compare the S10 respirator on the left against the Scott General Service respirator on the right. The Scott GSR is replacing the S10 in service in the British Army, and I'm not sure exactly when they'll all be switched over, but it should be in the next few years. So the S10's been in service since the mid-80s, and it's generally quite a well-liked mask, and it's one that's quite common on the surplus market in the UK. And it's one most collectors like, and it's used in a lot of films and everything. And the GSR is relatively new, so we haven't seen it in much yet. So the GSR is definitely better than the S10, but what I'm saying is it better in practical methods to mean changing from the S10 to the GSR? So weight wise they're roughly about equal. That's the S10. That's the GSR. The GSR is a bit heavier, but bear in mind it has got two filters on it. Now with the GSR you can take one of the filters off and just use it as a single filter mask, which is a nice feature, or you can use the dual filters, which I like. Now an issue with the S10 is that on normal S10s you can't change which side you load the filter on unless you have a specially produced mask. So if you were a left-handed shooter, you'd need a custom mask unless you could adapt to use normal S10. So the radio output is always on the right side of an S10 and the filter is always on the left side. The straps are easier to adjust on the GSR. Both masks have rubber straps, but with the S10 you have to unclip this thing to adjust the strap's length and then clip it shut. With the GSR you just pull it and then sort of do the opposite to loosen the strap. So the GSR has better straps. In terms of vision, although the S10 does have quite nice round lenses, I'd say the GSR easily wins on visions because it's a single visor, if you like, not two separate lenses. In terms of voice diaphragms, they're pretty much even. I think the GSR is slightly better, but there's not really much of a difference in it. You can still hear somebody speaking at normal volume with the GSR from a bit further away, so I guess it's a bit better. In terms of comfort, now the GSR isn't actually particularly better than the S10 in terms of that. The face mould on the GSR could be a little better. I think in terms of facial comfort the S10 might be slightly better. That might be because the mask fits my face better. Both have very similar drinking devices. I've heard the GSR actually allows you to sip more water at once than the S10, but I haven't tested it, so I wouldn't know. One of the problems I can see of the GSR though is it uses new types of filters, and while these filters actually have a very good advantage over 40mm, I don't know if they'll actually catch on, because the problem is it's such a unique filter at the moment that you can't, you need an adapter to use a 40mm. I can foresee problems that if only Scott manufactures these filters, they could be hard to come by in a few years or become obsolete or whatever. So while Scott's trying to do something good and create a new type of filter, it has to catch on to become useful, just as there's a lot of calibers that become quite interesting, but the manufacture of the caliber is so limited that lots of gun companies never choose to use it. So overall I'd say the GSR is definitely better than the S10, but I wouldn't necessarily say they needed to change away from the S10, especially with the budget issues British Army has at the moment. However, saying that, I prefer to wear the GSR myself. It's definitely, I think, a better mask in terms of adaptability, but there is nothing wrong with the S10, and you could still use the S10 as a very good functioning military mask. Thanks for watching. That's my opinion on it. I'd say the GSR is the better of the two, but I'd be happy to use either.